Why do they always do this? I don't know if many of you saw it, but Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk, yes, Pro Football Talk, posted an article saying that he is not going to stick to sports, basically defending his stance that he is going to talk politics on Pro Football Talk no matter what. Now, if you're not too familiar, PFT started as a bare bones website, basically helping break news, locker room drama, rumors, everything of that degree, and Mike built it up to a platform. If you loved watching the NFL, you went to PFT. So much so that NBC ended up partnering with Mike Florio and Pro Football Talk to make it a regular segment. And honestly, anyone who covers sports would dream of that kind of opportunity. But over the last decade, not just Pro Football Talk, but sports commentary all over the place have leaned more political, and it's become really frustrating. But with Mike's recent article, it really got me wanting to make this video because it's becoming increasingly more frustrating because there are some of us who just want to watch sports. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. But before we get too much further, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Hit that little bell notification to get subscribed to all my videos here. We keep growing, and I really want to thank every single one of you who's already subscribed, and if you feel that I've earned it, please go ahead and subscribe here as well. But let's jump right into the video. Let's go back to the 90s. Back in the 90s, even the early 2000s, when ESPN was king, you had people like Stuart Scott who brought charisma and an I don't care attitude because he was covering sports. You had Dan Patrick bringing thoughtful clarity. You had Keith Olbermann giving you some of the best one-liners in sports history with like put the biscuit in the basket and other great ones like that. You had Rich Eisen, who was a perfect blend of confident and calm but was still able to give you all the information.
That was awesome. I know.
It was like these people were almost your friends in a way, and if you missed episodes of SportsCenter every night, you missed out. You felt like you really missed out on something. They weren't trying to change sports, they were just trying to report them, and that was the best part. But over the last decade, things have changed. ESPN and other sports networks have shifted to more political commentary. Yeah, you could argue that it's more about clicks or letting people express themselves, but either way, it's something that has really bled over and oversaturated the market. So now one of the most objective things on the planet are no longer objective. Politics have been so injected into our sports commentary that people have now turned to actual political commentary to get their sports, because if they're going to listen to political commentary, they rather listen to whatever side of the aisle they're listening to. Political outlets who saw the power of sports decided to start making their own channels and delivering sports news as well. But of course, there's going to be a political lens with that as well. We can't even get sports news that's unbiased at this point. Somehow the sports journalism of just wanting to talk about big plays, breaking news, and rumors have almost become extinct. That's how blurred the lines have gotten, is that people rather listen to political commentary talk about sports than actual people who cover sports talk about sports, which is the saddest part to me, because sports used to be that neutral place where your race, your gender, your sexual identity, none of that mattered. It was all about watching the sport, enjoying sports, going to the arena and high-fiving random people after somebody hit a base hit, giving a hug after your team gets that game-winning basket. All of that is dwindling away at a point. It's almost losing a part of our culture in a way. On the other hand, though, I don't think all hope is lost. If you look at shows like the Pat McAfee show, who Pat literally makes a stand saying that he does not want to turn his show political in any way, shape, or form. It is one of the most popular sports shows in the country because he keeps it focused on sports. He's grown on ESPN. He does everything now because he has kept his brand. It's a neutral place where you can just talk about sports and have fun. That's the ultimate thing. Sports are supposed to be fun. But with that said, I do believe that there are places where people who cover sports can get their political opinions out there. Let's look at Stephen A as a prime example. Yeah, when he's on ESPN, sometimes it blends in his political opinion, but for the most part, he keeps that on his Stephen A. Smith show, where he talks about a wide variety of topics outside of sports. When he's on the Stephen A. Smith show, he can talk about whatever he wants. When he's at ESPN, he sticks to basketball, football, baseball, hockey, you name it. It's going to be focused on those conversations around sports. And he's actually honest about it. Look what he said about it on the Rich Eisen show.
I've often said this, I don't knock Jimmy Pitaro and ESPN for doing this one bit. When Jimmy Pitaro arrived around 2017, 2018, he wanted us to veer away from politics, and he was absolutely right because it was hurting the network and things of that nature. I completely supported him then. I completely support him now. When you tune into ESPN, that's what you're looking for and whatever. But in the same breath, we're not monolithic people. We have an abundance of ideas and passions and interests that we like to touch on that fuels our spirit and our soul on a lot of different levels. And when you don't see me talking about those things, it's primarily because I'm appeasing the bosses and the network that I work for.
He also mentioned that ESPN does make exemptions as well when something is very big, like George Floyd, stuff to that degree. But overall, he is trying to say that ESPN is trying to straighten that arrow and get people to focus more on sports. So I think the message is starting to be received. And this also isn't saying that Florio couldn't do the same thing, but that's where I get irritated when he gets frustrated with the critique. Go make pro politics talk, PPT, go make that instead. And you can literally talk about politics all day, all week. Nobody would care because they would go to you for that. And I guarantee you there would be people who are on PFT who would go and listen to your political rants, Mike. But for the most part, people don't want to hear things that don't have anything to do with sports. Even when you kind of trickle in sports, it's sometimes so lazy that you obviously just want to talk about politics. Sometimes you tell the same story 3 to 4 times because you want to relate it more and more to politics and less about sports. But I think he has a fear that possibly people won't go over and listen to his political opinions and he'll be embarrassed. It'll be a smaller channel than Pro Football Talk, and that's what he's afraid of. He's afraid of not having as big of a reach. And I understand that. You have a big platform as it is, and you want to speak your mind, but that's not what you built your platform for. Like, you don't go to the movies to buy a ticket to Jurassic Park and then get shown The Bodyguard instead. Like, you'd be like, what the hell is going on here? I'm here to see Jurassic Park and dinosaurs. Bodyguard is perfectly fine. Who doesn't love Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner? But I'm here to see dinosaurs. That's the equivalent of what this is, Mike. And that's where people are telling you to stick to sports in the sense of, dude, just take this to a different area. Go over and create a different channel. Make a new X account and just tweet there, dude. You don't need to use Pro Football Talk. You built this platform from the early 2000s around football, strictly football. And you've gained hundreds of thousands, if not millions of fans about football, not about your political opinion. And then you get mad when people who don't want to listen to politics, where they want to use sports as that escape, you get mad at them because they don't want to hear that, and you're now playing the victim somehow. That's your audience telling you they don't want to hear this right now. Eventually, you're going to push all your fans away. They will all start going to McAfee. They will all start going to Eisen or Patrick or any of these other people who try to keep it a little more neutral. And that's all people are asking. And even with things I agree with on either side of the aisle, I don't want to interject it into my sports. I use sports as an escape. We live political lives every single day. Politics are every single place you can go. You go on any website and that's all anyone's talking about. Some of us want to use sports to go, oh, thank God. A breath of fresh air of something as simple as who got the higher score. Where is this person going? What's being said about this team? Not what's happening in Washington. Because we have enough voices of that, Mike. And if you want to go make that, go make that. But we don't want it with our football talk. And that's more or less what the argument is. Let's just let sports be what they are. Something that brings us together. Something that unifies us as a culture, and something that we can just all enjoy no matter what. But overall, some of us are just trying to enjoy the damn game. But that's just what I think, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Hit that bell notification to get notified to all my videos here. I am going to start trying to do twice a week videos once training camp does get rolling here and more news starts happening, so keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, have a good one.